All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Since you too is Pastor Dow. One of the best ways to defend yourself from any situation whatsoever at all is truth. But that truth cannot be based upon preconceived ideas and notions, things that you previously have accepted and think to be truth. It has to be practical application. I guess you can say by nature, I think tactically. And I guess I can attribute that to the military and stuff. And if you notice, there's a lot of veterans that on YouTube that are preppers, survivalists, and they do whatever they can to give you wisdom, skill, knowledge, understanding, providing you can hear. Things that they've learned, things that they've experienced. And you think about it, the truth is they're making a contribution to society that if it was not for YouTube and other social media outlets like that, you'd be pretty bad off. And some of you are going to be bad off because you simply will not apply the teachings, the skills, and the principles. I've got a bad problem in the ministry. It's a real bad problem. And I'm going to speak to you people clear, and I hope that you can hear. The problem that I'm having in the ministry is this. The problem is that I'm dealing with people who have a wealth of information at their fingertips. A source of knowledge. Not only a source of knowledge, a source of wisdom, a source that actually applies the wisdom that they teach, i.e. I'm speaking about me. But I have very, very few brothers that actually implement. And sometimes it takes them years to even implement just the simple truth that I put out, giving knowledge and understanding. Let me give you an example. Let's just talk about a WROL. With many people, they don't know what that is, and I'm going to go ahead and explain it. A WROL is a situation where you find yourself in a world without rule of law. That means the police is not going to come to help you. A 911 is not going to do you any good. And it's no secret that for years, almost matter of fact, 2 decades, 20 years, I've been speaking about living set apart, like the Bible says, and surrounding yourself with trustworthy people. And everybody's not trustworthy. Because in a grid down situation, in a situation where you find yourself stagnant, I'm sorry, but I really truly do not put that kind of stock in humanity. I can't trust humanity, and you will be a fool to trust humanity too. We all would like to think that the next human being is as good, if that's the case, and benevolent, if that is the case, as we are. But we often, more than not, find that it's not true. So you have to prepare. And I really, truly feel sorry for you people that live up north. Because, can you imagine an EMP or World Without Rule of Law, or the ROL, a situation or a catastrophe, a severe natural disaster, San Andreas fault line down here in the South and Midwest. Can you imagine something like that taking place and you have never done one thing to prepare? We already know that the government is not coming to rescue everybody. They can't save everybody. We already know that FEMA is not going to be there for you. We already know the Red Cross is not going to be there for you. So, intelligence is preparing for yourself now and not depending on others to do it. In other words, get rid of the welfare mentality. So you got a situation where it's cold and it gets really, really cold up north. What are you going to do when heating oil is not available? Or if heating oil is available, but it costs so much you can't afford it. Or the electricity goes down for 2 months and you're in that region up there where it's just like the Antarctic in the wintertime, literally. Feet of snow. Stores are closed. You can't go down the highway. The highway is gridlocked. Well, Pastor Dow, you know, this is just fear-mongering or whatever. Well, you call it what you want. I call it being wise and prepared. Even down here in the South. And like I said, I've got there's a disconnect going on in the ministry. I have a lot of people that listen to me, but they won't apply the knowledge. For instance, they will go out and they'll hear me and say, okay, buy this book concerning building, or go out and get some knowledge. They'll buy the books, leave them on the shelves, and never apply the wisdom and knowledge to understand. I can sit up here and show them video after video after video of me doing foundation work, running heavy equipment, doing masonry work, block work, framing houses, doing flooring. I mean, I can go on and on and on, building cabinets, doing windows. I mean, we can go on and on and on and on. And yet and still, you know, they'll see me doing all this, but yet and still there's no inspiration in them whatsoever at all to apply what they've learned. And what they're doing is putting themselves and the people who are under them, i.e. women and children and other brethren who are trusting in their leadership, at risk. They put them at risk because, you know, many of the communities, we live great distances apart. We're hours apart from each other. And it ain't no hop, skip, and jump that you can actually get from one place to another. Many of them are not storing food. They're just not preparing whatsoever at all. They are not, and if they do buy any equipment, they are not actually going out and practicing with the equipment so they can get familiar with it, so they'll know all the ins and outs. They refuse the experience. I said all that because I hope that you out there that are listening to me, that you're not making the same mistakes. Search YouTube and see if you see another pastor that talks like I do. I'm really truly concerned about people. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't care about what people think, meaning people who oppose me, who are against me in any way, shape, fashion, or form, or people who can't even produce a tenth of what I'm doing. That's totally irrelevant. I am on here because I care about people. I do. I care about more or less what you do, and to try to get yourself ready and get yourself right, because the death toll is going to be amazing. Think about it. Let's say if you have prepared, and it's just you and your little old family. Do you know that the human nature automatically goes into a survival mentality? And if you're going to get a mob of about 8 to 10 people, and they're going to see smoke coming up out of your home because you've got a wood stove, you've got wood, you consider the ant, you prepared, and they don't have any resources. And now you on a lockdown situation. It's just you. It's your wife, it's your children. You've prepared for you, but you did not think it was important for you because, you know, you had selfish ways. You know, you don't want to be fooling with people, but you don't have enough security around you to be able to protect yourself and your position from this mob that's coming. So 8 to 10 men who also have families or girlfriends or children, they look at you as an opportunity. And when it comes to survival between them and you, they're going to take whatever resources you have and move into your place. Say you do kill 2 or 3 of them. Yeah, you may get 2 or 3 of them, but if they tactically sound, they're going to get you and your family. See, these are horrific situations we find ourselves in. And this country has done such a good job at dividing and conquering the people. That's like right now. You know, I live way out in the country, and I'm looking at all these homes and houses. Don't you know that these people have no relationship with one neighbor to the next up here? It's obvious. I'm driving down a road that there are 6 different churches on the road, and the majority of all of them, with exception of one, are missionary Baptists, and they have feuds and fights and wars amongst themselves, and they can't come together. You see the problem? You just simply can't come together. And this is a problem. You're going to have to surround yourself and find people you can trust, because there are 168 hours in a week. You can't pull guard duty 12 hours a day for 2 and 3 months. And then all of a sudden you relax on your morals and think that it's never going to happen to you. That distance is going to get you in trouble. You know, the height of preparedness is always to be prepared. And never allow yourself, because you don't get to pick and choose when evil is coming your way, and you have to get that in your mind. In order for you to start thinking like this, you got to change your mind. And when you're comfortable in the cities and you're always dependent upon the system rather than making yourself a way for you and your family, you know, a righteous man, according to the Bible, leaves an inheritance for his children. I got a lot of digressions going here. I'm sure I'm not going to finish this video either with all these digressions, but I guess I said all that to say this. You're going to need 3, maybe 4 trustworthy families. And that's only giving you 3 or 4 guys to be able to split up guard duty. If you're living out in a rural area, yeah, I guess you can have dogs. But dogs are no good. They can be shot, and they'll give you a warning when they're upon you. But dogs are nothing like a human being sitting out in an undisclosed location that can actually see the threat coming and then report back to you, and you can prepare accordingly when you see this mob coming. You don't want to wait till they're up on your position or your homestead to where your family and your children are before you start trying to defend yourself, your person, and everything that you have. You want to actually take the fight to them before it gets there. And if you live way out and you start seeing 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 men coming your way and they all have weapons on them, this is no time to be diplomatic. We're in survival. They're not coming out there because they want to be friends and buddies and chums and pals with you, or because they did, they would have made those moves earlier in being what we would call, and we've got videos about this too, being mutually assisted. You can't do it by yourself. You just simply can't. You know, that's one thing about in the military. There's not one person that's a ranger that passed ranger school by themselves. There's not one person that went to SF school that has ever made it in SF by themselves. There's not one person that has ever been a U.S. Army paratrooper that has ever made it by himself. Matter of fact, everything is designed to function on the buddy system. There's no class that anybody has ever done and passed by themselves. I didn't pass air assault school by myself. No, I didn't. And that's just the way it is. And, you know, the Army has it down packed. What the ideal is to try to get you to get it down packed in your mind. It's hard speaking to some of you because you've been functioning a certain way for so long, it just doesn't impact. It just does not penetrate. And no matter how many examples you see of preparation in front of you, it just ain't there. I mean, you think about this for a second. You have very few people. Let me just use black people as an example. It's obvious when you look at me, I'm a black pastor, okay? You look out there on the internet and see how many black pastors that are preparing, been prepping, developing homesteads, surviving, trying to make sure that their self, their persons, their families, and everybody associated with them are ready in a grid down situation. You may have a brother or two, definitely not preachers, because the preachers, they're not there to get you ready for any of these situations. Just like many old preachers and teachers and leaders out there. If you're giving them tithes and offering or whatever you want to call it, they're not there to protect you from a world that is literally gone mad and gone crazy. They're there to receive a paycheck. And as long as they're mind numb to that paycheck and that plus life, they do not ever really feel it's necessary to prepare. They don't do like that one boy, Bishop Paul S. Morton, did when Katrina happened. He said, you know, we've been through a lot, y'all. He came back after he took his Lear jet and flew out of New Orleans and left the sheep to perish. And then he came back later on and said, we've been through a lot, y'all. Anyway, I'll just leave it at that. It's just a sad situation. I can only preach and teach to you, but I can't give you the ears to hear. I think you understand what I'm saying. But the blessed ones are not the ones that hear the word, but the ones that are doers.